What's up guys, I'm Phoenix Master 1 and we have got information about the upcoming update and the remixes and the refines, and they've got some major changes for Aether Raids and Arena. So let's start with legendary female Byleth, who's getting her remix and also refined. So she gets attack speed finish 4 as a remix skill, which is good because she's going to be triggering the specials quite a lot. For her slot B, the things are going to be changing depending on her weapon refine, and for her remix, she has got Goddess Bearer 2. So now if there's any kind of ally in 3 rows or 3 columns centered on Byleth, then she herself gets the +7 attack and speed buff, the null follow-up status, and the order status. So this is kind of better compared to before, and keep in mind that this skill is completely selfish. She doesn't really give these effects to any of her allies. And again, if there's any kind of ally in that range, then she gets +4 to all of her stats, and also gets the special cooldown -1 jump before her first attack. And if the enemy has got any kind of damaging special, then you inflict the unconditional scowl on them. So again, this is selfish, she's not giving this out to anyone, and the special jumping is really good because that is one of the things that legendary male Byleth was lacking. And obviously Goddess Bearer being in the slot C, you're not able to run Creation Pulse, so getting the special jump is going to be helpful, and hopefully her weapon refine gives her like a full damage reduction piercing, because that would be the best as she is missing out on Sublime Heaven. So you need that damage reduction piercing badly, and this special jumping will help you with that. So you could just run Ruptured Sky and still hit hard, and the scowl effect is only going to be mattering if there's going to be any kind of flat damage reduction or damage reduction in her weapon. So we did see a bit of this on Duo Byleth's weapon refine. I thought that she was getting scowled because of Rhea, but it seems like she's getting scowled because of Sothis after all. So this scowl can be helpful so that you can trigger another special, and she does have the full tempo effect in her weapon. So even though she doesn't really get the special jumping on her follow-up attack, you're still able to trigger the special, and I hope that her weapon refine just expands upon the support that she's able to provide, because being able to give out the tempo support is quite unique even now. And there are a couple of units that can give you the null guard support like Lumera, but still I hope that she's able to give out her drive tempo on a bigger area, and maybe she's able to have more supportive effects. And like I said, she is missing that damage reduction piercing compared to legendary male Byleth, so getting that in the weapon and like the full piercing would be amazing on the special triggers. And some true damage is going to be helping her because she is not going to be hitting as hard as many of the other nukes. So she's able to get a lot of things out of her slot C, but some true damage is going to be carrying her as a nuke. And being a wind legendary unit, you're going to be facing a couple of dragons in Arena, so the special jumping also acts as a anti-scowl in a way, so it can help you. And then we have got Eitri's remix, and I wanted to go over her after Byleth because Byleth is just better. So here she has got her slot B skill, Divine Recreation, and this is going to be giving her -4 debuff to all of the stats of the enemy, and now she gets 50% damage reduction piercing on all of her hits. So that's good, as range flyers don't really have much of an option other than resonance to get the damage reduction piercing. And then she gets a bit of boost to her regular damage reduction, so now she has got 50% damage reduction, but also against the brave hits. So this is no flat damage reduction, but this does help with the survival. And then she has got the damage reflection, which can help her hit harder. So this remix is a bit lacking, and she will need an extremely good weapon refine, because as it is, her firepower and combat potential is extremely low by the modern standards. So she will need a lot of things in her weapon refine, and this remix definitely doesn't do enough for her. The best thing is definitely the damage reduction piercing, but the small boost to her damage reduction isn't really going to be helping her because she is not really all that bulky to begin with, and she really needed some kind of flat damage reduction, and that would go so well with the damage reflection she has got. She's also going to be getting Deadly Miasma as her slot C skill, so this is actually not that bad with her in-combat debuffs, and this does have the lull effect built in, so it can be helpful in Arena. But honestly, as a flying unit, being able to run Guidance 4 or Soaring Guidance is just the best, and you're not going to be running that as an attune skill because she does have her preferred slot B skill. So I kind of wish that she just got Guidance 4 like Legendary Claude. That would have been much better, but Deadly Miasma is not the worst when it comes to her own combat. And then we have got arguably the most hype weapon refinery badge of the year when Choose Your Legends units get the refine. So we have got Brave Seliph getting his refine, and one of the things that I really want for him is Null Guard or maybe some kind of special charges, because I still use him as a Gale Force unit and running Heavy Blade on him is so painful. So hopefully he's able to get that, and some kind of healing would also be pretty nice, even though it would be counterproductive with trying to fall into the Wings of Mercy range. But in the long run, it can help him with the miracle in his weapon, and his damage output is still pretty nice because of the true damage that he's able to get scaling on the defense of the enemy. So he is still pretty solid, but he needs some kind of way of getting more speed. Hopefully he's able to have lull speed defense built in his weapon so that it can free up his slot B skill for the other skills. And speed is something that he really needs because he lives and dies by that. So getting more stats in the combat is going to be helpful, and hopefully he's able to get some kind of excel damage reduction in his weapon refine. That would make him annoying with the flat damage reduction, and he would still just run Clash, which is his default skill. So I'm really looking forward to Seliph's refine, but I don't think it's going to be too insane. And then we have got the best unit out of this Choose Your Legends patch in Brave Chrom. He's still really good because of his action economy and the fact that he's able to get so many stats because of the visible status effects that you're able to copy. So I don't think he's going to be getting too much in his refine, maybe like Null Follow-Up or, hopefully Canter so that he can free up his Slot B and Slot C from the Neotrace and Alarm skills. That would be helpful. So I'm not really expecting too big of a change for him because he's still going to be really good even if he doesn't get a lot of things in his weapon refine. He already has pretty much everything you could ask on a solid cavalry unit, and the action economy and copying the status effects is just cherry on top. Again, I would like to see Tempo or Null Guard because that is not one of the status effects he could copy, as that doesn't really exist. So getting that in his weapon with the special charges that he already has is going to be pretty solid, and maybe he's able to have more status effects with his weapon itself. So in a way, he's able to have more stats. So he is really good and he's about to get better. And then we have got Brave Tiki. Now, Brave Tiki, I hate to say it, but she was kind of dead on arrival because when she came out, we had a lot of red units with Null Follow-Up and they didn't really care too much about her. And now she has definitely gotten better because Lagoo's Friend is the skill to be run in her slot B. New Divinity is not worth it anymore. Even High Dragon Wall is better for its utility, and Lagoo's Friend is the best slot B skill for her. And she was the unit to introduce Scowl effect, so I'm hoping that she's able to get some kind of super Scowl like Wintrip Byleth. And she was the second unit to have the special jumping, I believe, after Duo Ike. So having more special jumping would be really nice. So those were the things that were unique to her, which we kind of saw on the other units after that. And as a enemy phase unit, she needs a lot of flat damage reduction. So I hope that she's able to get that, and maybe with that and Lagoo's Friend, she's able to be really bulky. So I think that she might be getting the best refine out of this batch because she is one of the units who needs it a lot. And at the release, I would say that she was the worst out of the 4 that we have got. But now with Lagoo's Friend, she has gotten a bit better, and I would say that the worst unit right now from this batch is Brave Female Byleth. The reason being is that she's a ranged flyer. She cannot really get the skills like Tiki can, being an infantry unit. So the options that you have with her is really limited. And this Byleth also needs some kind of Scowl effect and special jumping because facing the other Scowl effects or Hush Spectrum is really annoying with Divine Pulse when you depend so much on it. And Speed Preempt is one of her ways of trying to function as a Vantage unit. So hopefully she's able to have some kind of super Phantom Speed that can help her with the speed checks, because nowadays it is really not enough. And she also needs full damage reduction piercing, because while trying to Vantage, you cannot get stopped by the regular damage reduction. So you absolutely need all the help that you possibly can. And even Fallen Female Byleth didn't really have much of a reign for that long because she wasn't fast enough. So trying to function as a speed vantage unit is always going to be tough because units just keep getting faster and faster, and that's why I want to see like a super phantom speed on her. And then we don't really have a seasonal refine for this batch, and we have a free-to-play refine and newer Keaton. So hopefully he's able to get a lot more true damage, and because he's going to be getting the refine, he's going to be getting the tempo effect as his transformation effect. So that is already pretty good, and his true damage has a hard cap. So I hope they remove that and give him a lot of true damage based on his defense because, he has the defense to make use of Lagu's friend. So a bit of an updated weapon would be a big help. And then we have got the refines for next month in Veld, and Ileana is probably going to be getting a refine as well. We also are going to be having a seasonal refine to probably Pirate Veronica or Pirate Tibarn, depending on which one they want to do first. And we are not going to be having any kind of legendary or mythic remix in October, so these are the refines you can look forward to. And now we have got the ephemera units. So Constance is going to be there with Harsh Command Plus, so that's helpful for arena usage. And this was the time where they just gave attack speed push 4 to everyone. So she also has that, and if you're trying to get the tier 4 version for Slotby and Slotsy skill, then it could help as a bridge fodder. And then we have got Ascended Hilda with Velocity 3, so maybe Velocity 4 is about to come out, so she could help as the bridge fodder. John Drive speed and attack speed solo is definitely not worth it. And then we have got Spring Linhardt, and he is a pretty nice and unique infantry bow unit with his high resistance. Carrot bow is a good weapon if you're a high resistance archer like Newer Plumeria or Candace, and Still Water is always going to be helpful as a bridge fodder. And Patty is pretty much the modern demote dagger unit that you could try and build up. She works really well with Arcane Tempest and even Arcane Void if you have that. So trying to get the merges on her is going to be a bit helpful. As for the fodder, she doesn't really have much. Dull range could be a bootleg lull skill, and they still haven't given us the lull skills on the demote units, which I find so strange because it's such an old skill line. But yeah, dull range is something that Patty has got. And then we have got Selena with reposition, so that is always helpful. And then we have got Marth giving you spur speed and pivot. Pivot is only really helpful on like Winter Edelgard trying to hit and run in Aether Raids. And then we have got Tiki providing you bonfire, and everything else is too outdated. And then we have got an interesting change to Aether Raids. So the Aether cap bonus is here, and now you're able to store up to 400 instead of 250. Now keep in mind, this doesn't mean that you'll have to play more matches in Aether Raids. You're still going to be starting at 250. It just means that if you're having a couple of busy days, you're able to take days off from Aether Raids, and you could take like 2 days off and still be fine as you're going to be storing up your Aether. So that actually works out because sometimes you forget to play Aether Raids, and then you're able to not make to tier 39 or even get a throne. So this does help, and this also helps you in a way of getting the easier matches because a lot of hardcore players and whales and the top rank players are going to be pushing their lift because they want to play against the top tier teams of the other rank players. So this means that if you don't play like 2 days after the Aether Raid season starts, you're able to have a arguably easier matches because you're going to be matched up with the players at the same rank. So you're going to be getting matched up with the people that also haven't played. So this is a pretty nice quality of life change, and this is going to be giving a nice break when you're trying to just take a few days off and not play Aether Raids, because it can get a bit overwhelming at times, and sometimes you can just forget if you have a busy day. And some Aether Raids matches can take a while, so you don't really want to rush it when you're like really tired and you don't want to go on autopilot. So this helps you get some space. And then the catapult is going to be upgradable to level 13. Catapult is really good for Aether Raid's defense, but mostly you're going to be sniping the safety fences, which are already level 1, so you don't really need this to be at the max level most of the time. And Aether Resort is going to be having 2 new songs, Battle Thracia from Thracia 776 and also Dayspring from Shadows of Valentia, which I believe does play in some kind of cutscene. So that's the Aether Raids change, and that's not all. There are more changes to Aether Raids, and yeah, of course, we're going to be having new Memento events, and Summoner Duels is going to be having the favor level updated. Summer Dew and Glenn are going to be in the Grail shop, and they're going to be changing the rule of the legendary heroes that are going to be selected as bonus heroes in Arena and Aether Raids. So this is easily one of the worst changes that they've done in the recent times, because this devalues your older legendary units. The main reason why people got legendary units in the holo forms was to use them in the bonus rotation, and now you're not going to be having them and only going to be having the 10 newest legendary units, which is just so limiting. And a lot of people are going to be sending feedback, and rightfully so, because the main draw of FEH for a lot of people is to use their favorite units, and most of the popular characters, which are the legendary heroes, are the old ones. Right now, I would say that outside of the engaged lords, they are kind of running dry when it comes to the legendary hero candidates, and they really want you to spark on that legendary hero banner to get that newest legendary unit for the bonus rotation, and they really want to have you get the FEH pass for it, because the legendary banners are not really all that insane, and they don't really provide you as much value as a mythic unit, and definitely not as much as an emblem hero that provides value to your entire barracks. And honestly, this is a really bad change, because you're going to be having these legendary remixes, and if you're not going to be having these legendary units in the bonus rotation, then again, it just devalues them. So this is a pretty horrible change. And Legendary Male Robin is the cutoff, and this explains why they have been giving so many legendary units in the holo forms. Like, we've got 3 of them right now in the genealogy holo forms, but they're not even going to be getting their bonus rotation, which is one of the worst things. I wish they would increase the bonus units itself, because it just opens up more flexibility and people want to use their older units. And you have these remixes and these holo forms for the older legendary units, and how are you not going to have them in the bonus rotation? And you're going to be prioritizing the 10 latest legendary units. So like I said, they are really desperate for people to pull for the newest legendary unit and spark it with the FEH pass. So 10th September is when this change is going to be applied for Arena, and 17th is when it's going to be applied for Aether Raids. So yeah, I hope that they, run back on this, because this is not it. This is definitely not it. And this is going to be having some serious consequences with the interest and goodwill of players, and probably the life of the game, because this is really harsh for the older legendary units. So that is everything for this update. Let me know which refine you're looking forward to the most, and what do you think about this legendary bonus rotation change that they have done. And I want to thank all of my YouTube members for the constant support, and you can click the link on the screen right now to check out my breakdown of the legendary male chest banner, and make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell, because YouTube sub boxes are about as bad as the bonus rotation changes that we have got in this update. So with that said, let's see you guys next time. Thanks so much for watching, and have a great day.